do you agree? Or not necessarily, they may not
Yes,
agree, but do you
yes.
understand? And, so bring them in on the process as well, but to think through so that when, that happens that night, now it's not to say everything's gonna go hunky-dory.
That's
and
true, but you've implemented
But
the plan.
you've let them know, and you may have to shift sometimes, get creative, but there's a lot of great resources out there. That's the other thing too, is,
Okay.
for, Focus on the Family has some awesome resources for even single parents too, that, for putting some of those plans in place. But that's one of the things we go through is, to
Okay.
anticipate the behavior, because so much of it, we know. what we're
Catches us off guard.
Yeah.
And as you stated, then we're in crisis mode and not being proactive.
So
Yeah,
it's-
and the time does work, because I can remember when my daughter was younger and she couldn't tell time, but I go, okay, when the hand gets on the 3,
Yeah.
they know numbers.
Yeah.
And you go, when the hand gets on the 3, this needs to be accomplished or that needs to be accomplished, and it's very beneficial. Very good. Wow. What are some of the anticipated behaviors when there's a person out there that has a teenager, and we haven't forgotten about you, and oh wow, they're hitting those teenage years. I mean, and we hear horror stories about teenage years. So what are some of the anticipated behaviors, because your daughter is now in college?
Yeah,
Yes.
and hard to believe, she's all grown up, but for teenagers even more so, because I mean it's not what we grew up with. We all know, and
No,
we hear that, but it's true.
different.
What our
Very
children are up
dramatically
against
different.
today is just unbelievable, and so those anticipated behaviors are the peer pressure.
Yes.
It's not like 40 or 50 years ago where the community was kind of in sync with each other too.
Sure. Yes.
Now they're
Very
totally
much
out of sync with us as Christian parents and in the morals, the value, everything. So we really have it, much more difficult than at any other time.
You're
So
right.
I think that is, one is to bring support from your churches, from, build a reservoir of support around you. The anticipated behaviors, are going to be the things about, the curfews, the texting, the and all those things, and those are things that we pretty much know what to expect.
And that's their norm now.
Yeah, exactly. And keeping track of friends, and
Yes.
setting up guidelines as to, it's difficult for a single parent to do. If
Sure.
sometimes impossible, but at the same time, that's where we really have to rely on each other. Churches need to get involved and be aware that as far as their single parents and in their congregations need that assistance, and this is where the body of Christ has to come into play, and as far as in mentoring, and for those of us that a big issue in our group is the single moms with sons, and especially teenage sons, because those kids are going to find family, and that's one of the issues we have with our gangs right now. Is
Right.
The
Biggest gang has become the family.
Yeah, exactly,
Yes,
and
the
then
support
that
base.
that's where they're filling in a void that
Sure.
we should be there for them.
You're absolutely right.
So it's bringing the resources that and those are very fundamental human emotions at play there, and so we need to be aware of that and be proactive in that area too, of bringing churches in and working with our young men, our young women, and Big Brothers Big Sisters is a great organization as far as some of the mentors and all.
Okay.
And our churches, like I said, our churches also too need to be real, be proactive in giving that help, because it's not easy.
No, and I've heard several teens stating that there's just not enough things to do. And a lot of times, as you mentioned, the church is not as engaged, when we're losing our kids.
Right.
And I think it's very, very vital to put programs together. And I take my hat off to you. I mean, I compliment you on the program that you're the co-founder of, because that support group, I think a lot of single parents feel very isolated. Do you feel that
Very,
it's a lot? Yes.
well, that's that's amazing.
And they feel
you know.
alone.
Given as many of, we're all over the place. You'd think
Sure.
we'd be tripping over each other.
I don't.
But yet you would never know it as a single
Sure.
parent. We all feel like islands, and that's the irony of the whole thing. And I think part of that goes back to the fact where we are in that survival mode. So we really don't have the time to get out and You know, we do. We joke in our group about, social life, It's like, oh,
Ooh,
yeah, right,
social
yeah.
life, what is
Well,
that?
what's that? Exactly.
Yes,
And
what
so,
is that? That's
because
true.
we're just trying to get through the day. So
Yes.
we don't have the ability to do that active networking that our single friends have, or our married couple of friends of, and also too, unfortunately this is starting to change. But we oftentimes don't have the resources even with the churches. I mean, I feel
Oh, I
single
know.
parents deserve their own identity within churches. We're not our single friends, and they kind of the church may throw us into the singles group where we're fine as long as we don't bring our kids into it.
And how can you?
Exactly. There's
Yes,
such
your
a
children.
or our
That's
couples
your
groups
family.
where we're feeling like a third wheel and all,
Right.
and so I really encourage churches to use that, as far as we are a viable identity of their congregation that they need to address in that area, and that is improving. Fortunately, I'm not quite as quick as some of us would like.
Right,
but-
and I think it ties into what you stated earlier, that anticipated behavior and that preventative forward thinking. And that is so vital. And there's someone out there that feels that you're alone. And we want to compliment you and thank you very much,
Yeah,
Larry Taylor,
thank
for
you so
coming
much
and
for what
sharing
you do.
very
Yeah,
significant
very-
information with us. And I want you to remember that we're here to help share new perspectives, real solutions, and to let you know most essentially that you are not alone. We are going to provide resources and information, and God is your support, and He'll never leave you nor forsake you. Stay tuned till next time.